J Bills for Media Spotlight UK reunited with Ashley Rak-Su in the building.
How you doing, brother?
It's good to see you, brother.
Good to see you too.
Last time I saw you was at Misfits 5 on your big win against King Kenny.
Yes, sir.
You know, I've seen that you've been traveling a lot as well. Like you went to Costa Rica, Mexico.
Yep.
You know, and one thing I've always noticed about you is that you're a very positive person when it comes to you know, looking out for people in general. Like, you know, you were helping the kids out over in Mexico as well. Like, what's the mental state for you in being this positive? Because I know that obviously you've always been a positive guy, but what gets you there every time?
I just think life is short, man.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so blessed and I'm so gifted that why would I not try and give back to other people? Do you know what I mean? It just makes sense to do so. So it just makes sense to give back. Like, I'm so fortunate in what I've been blessed with by the work that my mum done. I've seen her help other people across the course of her life. My grandmum before her as well. And I wouldn't be where I was right now if I wasn't blessed in a lot of ways. So if I can share a little bit of that, why would I not, you know?
You know, I mean, of course, like, obviously, we've seen your journey. You know, Misfits 2, Misfits 5, and now Misfits 9, Hallowham as your next opponent.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, obviously, I saw your digital face-off. Is the bet still on in terms of if you win, that you get his Rolls Royce?
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to stick to that. But I knew he wasn't going to anyway. He was just trying to bait me into the fight, and it worked. He's got it now. So, yeah, if I can go out there and get a good win, I'll take that instead. It's all right.
Because I know, obviously, his last fight with Zuckles on the prelims of Misfits 7, and obviously his last fight with Ginty at Misfits 5, you've seen it for yourself. How do you see him as a, you know, being improvement to get to the level? Because he said that you would be his toughest fight at this point. So how have you seen him improve from, you know, Ginty to Zuckles to get to this point with you?
So I think he lost a lot of weight. He got a lot fitter.
Yeah.
And obviously he's another year along his journey now, and we're all novices, so we're all improving all the time. So even just seeing him in the open workout, like, he's obviously moving a lot better. He's trying to throw in more speed, throw more combinations, pick better angles, like all of that. You can just see he's improving as a fighter. I guess unfortunately for him, I as well am improving as a fighter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so we're all going in the right direction. But on Saturday, I'm just going to have too much for him.
Yeah, because I know obviously you and Luke Groves, you know, the Deadly Tag Team, in terms of like coaching you to get to this point. You know, how more intensified of the training has it been since your last fight with King Kenny? Because, you know, obviously each opponent is going to be different in terms of like the approach you're going to have for them.
Yeah, I mean, the intensity hasn't been up too much, to be fair. It's just a case of me getting down to a lighter weight. That's really made the difference.
Yeah.
So it's just been a case of me having to be more disciplined with my nutrition and my eating and whatever. But the training is basically the same, man. Like, I'm just still always learning. Every day, every week, I'm learning. And I love that. And,
of course, obviously, you know, you've always been saying in every single interview that your dream opponent, Salt Papi. You've always been talking about Salt Papi. Even in your face-off, Salt Papi. Obviously, at first, you got to go through his friend first.
Yeah.
You know, where are you at in terms of, like, you know, getting to the book? Because obviously, the transformation is different. He's a new man compared to, like, a year ago. So how would a fight with you and Salt Papi compare to if you were to step in the ring with him from his first fight?
Oh, beforehand, I would have kicked his ass, like, pretty comfortably. Like, I would have battered him, and that's why they wouldn't let him anywhere near me. Now, he's a different animal. Now it's a completely different story. He's athletic, he's trimmed out, he's in shape, down at 165. Yeah, now it's a different beast. I'm happy enough to admit that and to say that. I wanted that fight so badly because up until this point, I knew wholeheartedly, you put us two in the ring together, I'm winning.
Yeah.
Now that's a 50-50 in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, your former foe, King Kenny. Obviously, like I said, you had that win over him. And since then, you know, you've been seeing, you know, him in the Kingpin tournament. How have you seen him, like, in terms of his fights with my mate Nate, Whindersson Nunes, and ironically, they're both facing each other as well.
Yeah.
So how have you been seeing Kenny's progression since his fight with you? He's thinking hard about this one.
Yeah, I don't know how much progression there's been. I think Kenny's a really good, neat boxer with great technical ability and skill, and I think Daly's coached him really well. And I think you saw that against Sensei, even though Sensei rocked him with a couple of shots and was more experienced, once he got into his boxing, Kenny controlled a lot of that fight with a jab. You saw against DK Money, it was a clinical outing from Kenny, and I was just too good for him. but then he gets into the Kingpin tournament, dispatches of my mate Nate, deals with Whindersson Nunes. Like, the reality is Kenny is a really good boxer. Like, there's no two ways about it.
For sure.
But he hasn't been tested as of yet to find out where he's really at.
Yeah.
So against Anthony Taylor is where we're going to see where the improvement
I was going to ask about like how you see that fight play out, because obviously you face both opponents. You face both Anthony Taylor and Kincaid. So how do you see that play out in terms of them facing each other?
I think it depends on Anthony Taylor. If Anthony tries to box him, then Kenny's going to win, and Kenny's going to win comfortably. If he's willing to make it a horrible, scrappy fight like the Salt Papi fight, pop shot, grab him, wrestle, make it ugly, then Anthony Taylor can win that fight. But if he tries to prove a point and tries to box with Kenny, then yeah, Kenny's going to beat him pretty comfortably, unanimous decision.
And then going into the ring with Halloran, like, how are you looking at that energy? How are you looking in terms of getting into the ring and then face him head on? Like, you know, what's the mentality going into once you get in the ring? What's happening? What can we expect from you?
I've got a job to do, man. I've got to walk through him.
That's
It's as simple as that. Yeah, it's just, obviously it's going to be fun. I'm always going to have a laugh. I'm always going to be smiling, but I've got a job to do and I need to execute.
And then who's next? Who's not to look past Halloran, but who's next on your agenda?
Unfortunately, that is out of my control. The reality is it's going to be the biggest person that Mams can give me. That's the fact. Anyone who's fought on Misfits more than 3 times, yes. Do you know what I mean? That really, for me, is a barometer. It's like anyone who's a big name within the community, anyone who's a big name within the community of a space, I'm down for.
Because you've teased about Slim as well.
100%, yes. Like, yes to all of them. Anyone you can think of who's fought multiple times, the answer is yes. There's like no one I would say no to who's fought multiple times on this platform.
Well, I wish you all the best with your fight against Halloran. It's always a pleasure, brother. And I know that it's going to be a really interesting fight and a big fight.
Thank you, man. Take care of yourself.
Always.